Jamido for Nishnabekwe and Nishnabe and Nini. I say me Gutch for allowing me to come and to share with you as we sit in this kind of space and I have my youngest son who's going to offer a song and my youngest son works with me a lot, which is a part of our natural ways of being. There's always someone within our family line or family system. And this young man was born and raised into this way of life. This is all that he knows. And I'm grateful that by the time he arrived on this earth is that he got to be in this kind of space all of his life. And he wants to share a song. I'll let him introduce himself. And again, he works with me a lot in different territories, in different communities, in different nations, in different agencies, and education systems and health systems. And I'll let him introduce himself, and he has something he wants to share.
Cultural Schooly, everyone. I just wanted to offer a song. I always get kind of, my heart's just real big because my mom introduced me, and it's hard not to get, like a little overwhelmed or embarrassed when your mom says nice things about you. But I'm truly, truly grateful because she gets to be my mom, but she's also, it's true, she's my biggest teacher, and I am grateful because this is all I know. I've given up any other form of life. I just want to practice our ceremonies and our teachings, and I'm grateful for this and for everyone here. And it's not a small thing when people gather, and even if we're online right now, because we're on the earth and we're still connected. So I just want to offer a song, and I'm gonna get some real good some English. Yo yo hey yo hey yo 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 hey yo hey yo 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 hey yo hey yo 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 hey yo Yanko signs me so Yanko signs me so Yanko signs me so Yanko Yanko Ya ya hey ya hey ya 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 hey ya hey ya 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 hey ya hey ya 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 hey yo Mingwech kishemanando Mingwech kishemanando Mingwech kishemanando Manando manando Ya ya hey ya hey ya 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 hey ya hey ya 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 hey ya hey ya 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 hey yo Yanko sign me so Yanko sign me so Yanko sign me so Yanko Yanko Mingwech kichemanando Mingwech kichemanando Mingwech kichemanando Manado manado Mingwech. So Cultural Schooly, everyone. My name's Jesus, and I just wanted to offer that to everyone and just open up in a good way. That song, there's no name for that song yet, but I'm from Oneida, and I'm also from Nawash, and they call us, when you're from two nations around here, bridge baby. So I've been calling it my bridge baby song, because it's both, and all the song is just saying a thank you to Creator, because it's all, their way of life so simple, and it's also just, it's in everything. But I'll hand you off to my mom because I'm just so happy you can spend time with her. So have a great time.
Oh, you got you, Allison. And if we were physically sitting together, we would do that kind of opening and we would offer that medicine and that smudge. And wherever you are, if you happen to have your own medicines, light it, put it in front of you and breathe that medicine in. Because that spiritual connection that we have with one another, it's the medicine that keeps us interconnected. And so I'm really grateful that and honored. And I say me much to my mama and to my dad and to my sisters and to my brother, my oldest grandbaby, and Menedo Benessi and some other of my relatives that are in Creator's World for all that we shared when they were walking on this earth, and to give thanks for all the ceremonies we did together and all the medicines we did and all the learning that we did together, because that's what it's about. It truly is about learning and coming from a place of just great gratitude where I sit today. And it's been a journey in my own life. And to share a little bit more about who I am, I'm originally from Neoshingaming, Cape Croker. I don't live there. I've not lived there in 31 years. I live in a small town outside of London, and I'm strongly connected to the communities down here. My biological grandfather is from Nisitangekwe, which is my mother's biological father, and my biological grandmother is from Oneida. But my mother was adopted into the Ojibway territory, and so I give thanks to what she has taught me. My mom, to me, was a very spiritual woman, and she was a very kind woman in spite of what she had to live through. I'm a mother of 6 children. I have 3 sons and 3 daughters. I have 13 grandbabies, and I have one great grandson that I'm just still in awe when I say I'm a great grandmother. And to give thanks that my great grandson will be growing up and learning and is being. My eldest grandson is a language teacher. So my great grandson's going to learn the language. He's going to be in it. He hears it even before he was born, even before he came to this earth. And he's going to be surrounded by that. And as my grandson continues to grow and continues to be that wonderful language teacher, he's learning about ceremonies. He's learning about, things that he needs to do for himself and for his partner and for his son. And so that's really exciting to me. And there's lots of times that so many of us women would sit in ceremony and we would sit in sweat lodge and we would cry and going, what are we going to do? How are we going to help our people? How are we going to stop the alcoholism and the family violence? How are we going to help stop our children being taken from the women? How are we going to stop all the injustices that's happening to our relatives? What are we going to do? And we would sit in that sweat lodge for a long time, many times, and we would just really pray really hard. But we were also grieving because we were feeling so powerless. And I'm grateful to the man that I call my dad, the man that raised me, because he's the one who would take my sisters and I to, and he didn't call it ceremonies. He just says, "Oh, I'm going to go sit with so and so," and we go, "Can we go with you, Dad?" And we would go, and we would take our kids, and we would just listen to those old men when they were talking. We would just listen to their stories, and all as I knew back then is it felt so good, and then we would go to different socials and listen to the singing. And I'm very grateful to my brothers, my youngest brother who's in Creator's World, and I still have one brother on this earth. And they would sing on at the big drum. And I have no words to explain back then, and I didn't fully understand it back then. All as I knew is it felt so good when all these different First Nations people would gather and the men would sing and they would have socials and get to know different people from different territories. That was I will forever be grateful for that. And watching my dad make medicines with these other men. And again, my dad didn't say this is ceremonies. He wouldn't call it anything. He just says they're going to visit. But now I understand it was ceremonies that these men were doing. And and they would celebrate through our songs and through our dances. And I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful that my youngest son, the one that opened with that song came to him. That's not he Nobody taught him that song. That song came to him through his own um, time of sitting on the earth and just paying attention to what the ancestors are directing him to do for himself and for his life. And he's been my helper since he was a small boy. He's been going, first time I took him in ceremony, he was just a toddler. And I would take him in that sweat lodge. I have a story about him. And when he was born, when he was only like maybe a month old, 2 months old, I would go to gatherings, and this old man came to me and he says to me, he goes, "Oh, what a beautiful son you have." And he got my attention because I've never heard old Native men called a male child or a male baby beautiful before. And so that old man, he says, you make sure you take care of this boy. You protect his spirit. He's going to be a keeper of the great law someday. And then I went to another gathering, and another old man came, and he goes, what a beautiful son you have. He goes, you make sure that you take care of that boy, because he's going to be walking behind you. He's going to be picking up those medicines. He's going to be that teacher. And I would just smile and I would just listen to them. And then went to another gathering. Another old man came, and he says, what a beautiful son you have. You know that he's already has old knowledge. He already knows what his purpose is, and he has an old spirit. And he says, this young man is already has it. He has that spirit. And I never really fully understood it back then, but I certainly understand it now today. And so years have gone by, and I share that story no matter where I go. And my sister says to me one time, she's no longer here, she's in Crater's World. And she says, did you ever stop to think that maybe those men were spirits and they weren't physical men? And she got me thinking about that. I've never seen those men before or since. And it's not that they told me their name or where they were from. They were just these old men, and they had long hair. One had braids, and one had a beaded hat, and one would have a feather in his hand. And I just trusted that they were probably, part of the circle, and they're going to be speaking or sharing. So I think about that, I think about maybe they were spirits, spirit grandfathers that guided me how to take care of my son. And I was very mindful about taking care of his spirit when he was in the educational system. The educational system is not about empowerment. The educational system is not about honoring and seeing and looking at the gifts and the natural gifts that children have. The education system is created and is continued to function in teaching us what they think we're supposed to know, and keeping us small, and making us believe that we're not going to be successful if we don't have Western society's education. And that if you have a good education, you can get a job, you can buy a house and have a car, and have that dominant society's dream. But that's not true. It is not true. And if I had all the power in the world to change the education system, we need to have our own system, and it would be all land based learning. It would all be going out on the earth. It would be sitting and making our moccasins and making our medicine bags and doing ceremony and doing our naming and making medicines and learning the songs and learning the language. It's like, why can't we do that? Why do we have to ask permission? I'm at this stage of my life, I ask no one's permission. Turtle Island belongs to me. I did not come from no place else. And I have no problems creating a space no matter where I go. I don't need to ask anyone's permission. As soon as you ask permission, you give up your power. I have learned that through my lifetime. So again, I'm so grateful that my oldest grandson is going to be raising his son in the language. So that's one of my prayers that have been answered. And all of those tears that I shared back in the day with all of those other women when we would sit in ceremony. So I'm grateful for that. So my oldest daughter, my middle daughter, and my youngest son, they are the ones that do similar work that I do. And they're all cultural educators. And they know ceremonies, they know medicines, they know songs. And my other three, they've been a part of it, but that's just the way that they're living their life. But I know that when I leave this earth, my children will know what to do. They will celebrate my life. They will bring the people together. They will have a feast. They will have pipe ceremony. They will have a giveaway. And people will share stories about me. And because I want my grandbabies to hear stories about who I am and the work that I have done as I walk on this earth. So I'm grateful for that. But I'm grateful to my mama. My mama was the one who told my sister and I, go to ceremonies, come back and share with me what you learned. And she would always do that. She always encouraged us to go to different communities and to wherever there was gatherings, and my sister and I would go. And my dad would always say, our people will take care of you. If it's meant for you to be there, and you go learn from those old ones. And it didn't mean that we had lots of money, my sister and I, because we certainly did not. But we would take our children to powwows, we'd take them to socials, we'd take them to elders gatherings. We would go wherever there was gatherings of our people. And back in the day, there was gatherings in all different territories, and that I'm grateful for. And my dad was right. We'd go to different communities, and people would give us a place to stay, and whether it was sleeping in their living room, and they would feed us breakfast, and they would be kind to our children. And so that's how it was supposed to be. So I got to witness and to receive that kind of kindness from my relatives. And lots of people knew who my dad was, and some people knew my mom. And I look exactly like my mother, so it was very easy when I'd go to different communities. People would say, "Oh, you look like your mother." And yes, I do. So I'm grateful for that. But I'm grateful that Creator put a whole bunch of other people in my life path. I did not get here by myself. I got here with a whole help from a whole lot of different people. And because I'm both, I'm Nishnabik on my father's side and Hungwe on my mother's side. So I choose to carry my mother's clan, which is Turtle Clan from Onondaga people, because that makes sense to me. Because if women are life givers, if women are the first teachers, if women are the nurturers, if the women are the leadership, if the women are the spiritual foundation, it only makes sense to me, no matter what nation we come from, that we live through our mother's clan, the clan system. And so I'm grateful for that. But my mother was not raised in her cultural way of being because she didn't know where she was from. And when we finally got to meet my biological grandmother, my mother was already like in middle to late 60s at that point in time. And so I got to meet my biological grandmother for one day. And I asked her, "What nation are you from? What's our clan? And do you speak the language?" So I spent the afternoon with her and asked her all kinds of questions. But she had passed away within that year because she had cancer. And she says, I'm really sick. She goes, but I'm just waiting to do one more thing for one of my granddaughters. And then I'll be ready to leave this earth. And so I'm not going to be here long. And so I was really grateful that I got to spend some time with her and asked her all kinds of questions. And my mother was able to share with my biological grandmother the sadness and the pain that she grew up with by not understanding why her mother gave her up the day that she was born, and that she was raised by people she didn't know. But she was given up the day she was born. And my biological grandmother didn't even hold her. The woman that raised my mom, the one I call my grandmother, she was a midwife, and she was a non-native woman, and she was married to my grandfather, the man I call my grandfather, and delivered her and then took her home. I don't know what that must have been like for my biological grandmother to have her first child and not even hold that baby and immediately give that baby up. And what I understand about my biological grandfather, my mother's father, is that he was not a nice person. And so I understand about that because my biological father, he was raised in residential school, and he was not a nice person. He was very mean. He was very disrespectful to women. He had the belief children should be seen and not heard. He was a very violent man. He was an alcoholic, and but I understand why he is. I didn't know as a child, but I was absolutely terrified of my father, and my father never wanted me. My father never acknowledged me, and because I look exactly like my mother, when he see me as an adult, who did he see? He seen my mother, but he almost killed my mother in front of me. And then he turned to me and said, "If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have done this to your mother." And so I lived with that guilt all of my life. And I was 3.5 years old. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I have very, very clear memories about when my father harmed my mother and the different violent things that he did to her. And I felt guilty about that. I felt, well, maybe if I wasn't born, he wouldn't have treated my mother like that. But my mother was my lifeline. My mother was my life source. My mother literally put her life on the line for me to be here. And even when I was small and a toddler and I needed my mother and I would be crying and my father would get very angry at my mother if she picked me up and was holding me and trying to comfort me, he would hit her, he would punch her, he would slap her while she's holding me. And I'm a toddler and he would yell at her and make her put me in the corner and across the room while she had to make him dinner or supper or whatever it is that she had to cook for him, that he became first and not us as children. So I think about that, and it took me a long time to heal through that trauma. And then having to be forced to go to a Catholic school. So from grade 1 to grade 8, I had not one nice day. Not one. I can't tell you one day that was where I felt safe and comfortable and learning was fun. It wasn't. I was taught by priests and nuns, and they were very abusive, mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, and spiritually abusive to us. I have no memory of my siblings. I don't know what they look like. My brother is a year older than me. I don't remember him being in the classroom with me, and yet I know he had to be because back then they would have had like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, like all in the same class. The nuns would tell me and tell each other, oh, never mind her. She's just a stupid Indian girl. She's never going to learn to read and write. Oh, she's just going to end up having a bunch of kids living on welfare. She'll just become a drunk. As a small girl of 6 years old, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know those words that they were saying. But what I do remember is the feeling of the words and what they were saying. And that the priest that used to come to our school, he would grab my braids and he would pull them, or he'd grab me on my arms and yank my arms. And so, what I know now through my healing about that trauma is my spirit would leave my body. That's the only way that I could survive. That's why I don't have no memory of what my siblings look like. And at that point in time, I would have been the youngest because I had 3 older siblings at that point in time. And listening to those nuns say those things to me, so they were not nice people. And, the other thing that I come to learn and to understand through my own healing and learning our teachings and learning our ceremonies and listening to the stories of the old ones. And when that institution would say that we're born with sin, that's not true. That's just the way that they kept us small and kept us believing that we were bad. Our people were not born with sin. Our people were born with pureness of light in their heart, in their mind, in their body, in their spirit. So religious institutions and their teachings was about power and control and making our people, to forget who we are. And they almost succeeded. Almost. My brother was sexually abused by the priest in my community, and he committed suicide in his early 30s, and he had a 9-month-old son. And he was terrified that he thought, what if I do to my son what the priest did to me? So, out of his love for his son, he took his own life because he was so terrified he was going to harm his own child. And the institution can say, oh, he's going to burn in hell because he took his own life. My thing is, who are you? Who made you God? Who are you to say where my brother is going when he was living in hell because of the sexual abuse that he had to live through with the priest in our community? And that priest got away with it. And it wasn't just the men in my community or boys at that time, it was neighboring communities too. So when my brother left this world, the men would come to me and say, your brother's a hero. And I would kind of look at them funny. He goes, what do you mean my brother's a hero? They go, well, I think about committing suicide, but I don't have enough courage to do it. Your brother had enough courage to do it. And I didn't fully understand it back then. All I remember is the pain and how sad my mother was. So what that sadness and that hurt did for me is it pushed me to go learn about sexual abuse of men, and also suicide. So my sister and I would go learn. We'd go to workshops, or we'd go wherever our people were gathering, and we would go learn because we wanted to heal from that pain, and we wanted to be able to help our mother, to make life a little easier for my mom. In that religious institution, not one of them ever came to my mother and said, "We're sorry for what we done to your son. We're sorry what we did to your children. We're sorry what we did to your families." Because my mother was forced to send us to that school. And if she didn't send us to that school, CES was going to come and take us from her. And I can only imagine the fear that my mother must have had to live through in trying to feed us and to clothe us, and we lived in poverty. I didn't know what poverty was until I became an adult and had my own children. So through that experience, I've come to learn how much my mother had loved me, how much my mother did the best that she could for what she knew and understood. And I certainly would not be doing what it is that I do today. And we would bring my mom with us to ceremonies, my sister and I, when we would do ceremonies with other people. And that was awesome. My mother truly believed in my gift and what I do for the people. My mother was my greatest supporter. And then along that lifeline, I outgrew my mother because I live a completely different life than my mother had. And I had to learn how to be in relationship with my mother as she got older. And my sister, Ojibway, would remind me, Mom doesn't know how to talk to you. You need to learn how to communicate with her. And I had to really sit with that. And what I understood about that is because I live 100% a life that my mother never had. And then I had to learn to appreciate that. And so I had to learn about how to be in communication with my mother. And what I learned was the doorway of sitting and playing Scrabble with my mama. We always called her the Scrabble Queen. And we could have conversations and just be with one another. And I will forever be grateful for that, and grateful for my sister for reminding me about how I needed to have that relationship with our mother. And which was good. It was a good learning. And my sister Ojibway, she was my best friend. We were supposed to grow old together. We were supposed to travel together. We were supposed to retire together, but she left way before me. There is not a day that I don't miss my sister. I just loved her so, so much. But the spirit of her lives with me forever. Her spirit is always, always, always with me. I can talk to her anytime that I want to. My oldest grandbaby is in Crater's world, and she lived in the dark side of life, and she struggled. And there's lots of times that I would pray for her. I would sit in ceremony and pray for her. Her name was Nisitangekwe. And then she would be in and out of hospital, and I would go visit her. And she goes, "Oh, Graham," she goes, "it's really nice to see you." She goes, "Instead of just seeing your spirit." And I just hugged her and I cried. Because really what she was saying to me is all those times I prayed for her, I sent my spirit to her and she's seen me. So that's the power of who we are as a people. You have that kind of love for our loved ones, no matter what they're doing. We can pray for them, we can see them in our mind's eye, and they will see our spirit. And I will be forever grateful. And she used to tell me before she passed away, she goes, Graham, she goes, when I get better, I'm going to come and I'm going to be your helper. I'm going to help people the way that you help people. And I believed her. But now I know that's true. So she helps me from Creator's World. When I sit with young people, or I sit with families that are dealing with addictions of their loved ones, my granddaughter, she speaks to me as clear as day. "Graham, tell them about this. Graham, tell them about me. Tell them about that medicine. Tell them about why I did drugs, why I lived in that world." And she sings. She'll sing for me. And so that is the power and the beauty in who we are as a people. When our loved ones go to Creator's World, their spirit lives forever. And we can talk to them anytime that we want to. And we can hear them, we can see them. I can feel them, and sometimes I hear my mother call me, and it's clear as day as if she was still physically on this earth. But they're free. There ain't no more pain. There ain't no more sadness. They're totally free of all of the trauma and the hurt and the pain that they endured while they were walking on this earth. And I truly believe that our loved ones that are in Creator's world, they can help us more, that they're in Creator's world than they could when they were physically on this earth. And so that is the beauty in our teachings, that the spirit lives forever. It's just the body goes back to the earth because that's where we came from. That's why we're connected. That's why you hear those statements about land-based learning, because we are connected to the earth. Mother Earth truly is our mother. If you pay attention to her, you can learn lots from her. I had lots of my relatives that we just did fasting camp in this territory, and it was beautiful. So when you can take that time and go sit on Mother Earth without even fasting, go to the water, go sit beside a tree, go touch that tree. Those trees have a very powerful energy. And when you put your hands on that tree, just breathe and allow that energy from that tree to go through you and let it. It's almost like if you can imagine them cleaning us off of our hurt and our sadness or our doubt or whatever we're dealing with, and it's pushing it out of our body and coming through the bottom of our feet. And the old ones would say, go step on the earth, feel the energy of Mother the Earth. We have lost that ability because now so many of our relatives live and we're surrounded by cement. Cement sucks the energy right out of the body. So if you saw, some of you live in a town or a city, go find those places, go find those trees, go put your feet on the earth. And now I understand at this stage of my life, that's why our people wore moccasins all the time, because they could feel the energy of the earth. And that's what kept them healthy. Because we didn't have diabetes back then. We didn't have sickness because we were always on the earth. We weren't surrounded by cement. And so when the residential schools and the day schools came, the intent was for them and for us to be disconnected from our heart, our mind, our body, and our spirit, to be disconnected from our ancestors, from our medicines, from our language, from our ceremonies. And then they replaced it with shame, and to make us feel ashamed of who we are, make our parents be ashamed. But our parents and our grandparents and our great grandparents endured horrific abuses in their lives by the systems within our communities. So all of the systems were not created to empower us. The education system plays a huge role in how they divided our relatives and the negative stereotypes that they have created in their books. And that the education system is about trying to make us believe that if we just act like the colonial people that stole our land and has all the power, that our life would be better. Well, certainly that's not true. And that the health system, the justice system, the political system, none of those systems were created to empower our relatives. Those systems were created to keep us away and keep us divided from one another. And if some of our relatives come from two nations, honor those two nations. Whether it's two First Nations, whether it's a non-Native nation and a First Nation, honor it, but learn about both sides because it's important. We can't uh, we can't ignore that's how Creator made us for whatever reasons, and we choose our parents. We need to honor both sides because it's the truth in who we are. But that doesn't we pick up the good things on both sides. I have two of my children that their father is a non-native man. But the beautiful thing about that is that their grandmother was a very spiritual woman. And I will forever be grateful. Didn't stay married to her son too long, but she was a wonderful, wonderful woman. And I am so grateful for what she taught my children about spirituality without even calling it that. but it was by the pure fact that she was kind, she was caring, and she encouraged my children, go learn that about your mother's people. She encouraged it, and that is so beautiful.
So you're breathing
Oh,
heavy.
somebody's got their microphone on. You can hear somebody talking. Anyway, it's important we acknowledge those two nations that we come from, and I'm both Nishnabek and Hungwe. I will forever continue to learn both sides of my father's side and my mother's side, and also but the man that I call my dad, because my father was not a nice person. Which is interesting. My father was kidnapped when he was 4 years old to go to residential school, and yet my father was a fluent speaker. So that tells me why they kept trying to take the kids as young as they could, because the intent was for them not to remember their language. So that's a miracle in itself that my father was in residential school from 4 years old until he was 16, and yet he could still speak the language. And but I didn't have a relationship with him. I was absolutely terrified of this man. But these are just stories that I've heard from other people in my community or other people that he was with in residential school. So that's how I know my father's story. It's not that my father shared that with me. And so I'm grateful for those people that seen and witnessed what happened to my father in that school. And to give thanks, because I needed to understand why my father was the way that he was, that he could never love me. He had no respect for women, and he just was not a nice person to his children. And but I get that now, because he just acted out everything that was done to him in residential school. The priest and the ministers and the nuns and those other teachers, they were his parents. And my father was mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, and spiritually abused in that school. I can't imagine what that was like. It's totally beyond my thinking. I just know what happened to us in day school. And one time I shared that with the old ones when I was younger, and this one grandmother says, "Are you sure you weren't raised in residential school?" And I went, "No, it's day school." She goes, "What you're talking about was the same thing that happened to us." So my story has been verified. And the other thing I would say and share is that I'm truly honored in the work that I do, that I've sat with so many of our relatives across Turtle Island, and I got to hear their stories firsthand. I got them to heal their pain, so that helped them to heal their own pain. Not that I healed them, I just held the space and created a space so that they could heal the trauma that was inflicted upon their lives. So I know thousands and thousands and thousands of stories of what has happened to so many of our relatives in residential school, because I've had the honor of sitting with them and listening to their stories and helping them to grieve that child that was so scared and so lonely and didn't understand why their mom and dad couldn't come and get them out of that place. And there's also a whole bunch of not good stories also. So I'm fortunate in the sense of that I was able to break that pattern in my family. All as I know is that when I was that girl, I would pray. I don't know who I was praying to, because I grew up in that place of that God was not nice, and that God was mean to us because we had brown skin. We must be so bad that we deserve to be strapped, we deserve to be hit, we deserve to be humiliated and shamed. And I didn't know those words. I only knew them when I was going through my healing, around healing that girl inside of me and all the trauma that was inflicted on me in that school system by the priest and the nuns. And I'm grateful, because the healing that I got, I went to our relatives, I went to ceremonies, I went and learned the teachings. And Creator put really good people in my pathway to help me to heal that girl inside of me, to help me to heal the trauma and to understand why I was hurt the way that I was, but what I learned from that. But I also, as a young woman, would go listen to the old people wherever they gathered. I went. My sister and I would go. And back in the day, they would have elders gatherings in different communities and different places, and we would go. And I was just in awe of the stories that they would tell. And the first time I ever went into Sweat Lodge, when I came out of that first Sweat Lodge I ever attended, I never picked up alcohol ever again. And that was 45 years ago. Never had the need, never had the desire. And I will be grateful for that grandma that took us through that Sweat Lodge. And I didn't even know what praying meant back then. All as I knew is I wanted my life to change. All as I knew is I wanted life to be different for my kids. All as I knew is I was so tired of feeling tired and feeling sick and not feeling happy and didn't understand what that was. And so those grandmothers helped me to understand the trauma when we would share stories. And then I've had lots of really good people in my life, both men and women, that helped me to heal. The men in my life that Creator put in my pathway helped me to heal the trauma from my father and from the abuse from the father of my children, and helped me to see and to learn and to understand that not all men are like them, and helped me to understand how my mother didn't have any power, and that to know that I am not my mother, I am me, and to own that, but also to get to the other side. So that's what makes me a good helper to the people, is because I'm on the other side. Any kind of hurt or pain that is in my body, I'm going to go take care of it. I'm going to go to sweat. I'm going to go do pipe. I'm going to go sit with those ones that can help me. So we help each other. I'm very fortunate that I'm connected to, and we don't necessarily like that label of healers, because we're not healing anybody. To me, we're helpers. We're helping people to help themselves. We don't heal anybody. There's no such thing that we can't heal nobody. You heal yourself. We're just teaching people to take care of themselves, and there's ways in creating a space so people can do that. I went to school and got this little piece of paper saying I can help my people. But that's not the work that I get because I have that little piece of paper from Western society. I'm stood up by my relatives in different territories and the work that I do and how they've watched me for 45 years and over the years, and watch me how I am. But I do it because I love me, because I love my children, because I love my grandbabies, and certainly love my great grandson, who is the most beautiful young man in all of creation. But I had to learn to love myself first, because the old ones had say if we're going to change our families and our community and our nation, it starts with self. And I'm one of those people that walk through the world. I'm excited about learning. Even at the age that I am at this point in time, I'm excited about learning. That's what life is about. And I don't know if everybody feels that or believes that, but I certainly, that's how I live my life. And I absolutely believe in everything that I do and I share. And if I don't know something, I'm going to go find out. I'll go find somebody who has that knowledge and has that wisdom to help me to understand. My name is Nisitangekwe, and that was given to me by my dad and by my mom. And it means understanding woman. It doesn't mean I understand everything. It means I'm always looking to understand. My Oneida name is Deyat Deladuts, which means she who reasons and she who sees both sides. Both those names truly describe who I am. My name, Liz Akiwenzie, means absolutely nothing. It's just a name that I was oppressed by, that the cultural genocide was inflicted on my life path with that name. But Nisitangekwe is the one who's excited about life. Deyat Deladuts is the one who just loves to learn and tell me about that. Show me how that works. And that's the excitement. Everything that I do and how I live my life came from no educational institution, and certainly did not come from no book. It was through, as my spirit uncle would tell me, he'd say, you have to be in the school of life. And he was absolutely right about that, because being in the school of life is created who I am and how I live my life today. And I'm grateful for that. He was absolutely a beautiful, beautiful man. And he's the only man that I gave tobacco to and said, I need you to teach me, and called him my uncle. And he was a Plains Cree from out west, and he was an ex-priest. And he truly had a very bright light about him. He was very, very kind. And I will forever be grateful that Creator put him in my pathway in this lifetime. And he's in Creator's world now. And I'm sure him and my sister are probably having a great visit and probably chatting it up. And so I think about those things in gratitude, truly grateful that I no longer am that little girl who doesn't know. I'm no longer that teenager that doesn't know. I'm not that young mom that's struggling and living in poverty. I'm not that mother that's living in an abusive relationship. I get to be and live my life the way that was meant for me to live. And to live in gratitude and to feel that gratitude of our medicines and our songs, and just pure gratitude of where I have come from. And the old people would always remind me as I was walking through the world, make sure you look back to remember where you have come from. Look around and pay attention, where are you at right now today? And look forward, where do you want to be down the road? Took me all my life to understand some of these teachings that they shared with us. And but through those teachings helped me to be a different kind of mom. And there's no guarantees that we as mothers, that we can't be with our children 24/7. We can't protect them from everything in the world. I certainly tried and was not successful. But what I was successful about, that if my kids got hurt, I could take them to other healers or other elders or other knowledge keepers or ceremonial people or spiritual people that I trusted, that I had relationship with, that I worked with. Because I wouldn't just send them to anybody. I have to trust them first because these are my babies. And so when it was time for them to deal with the abuses that was put in their pathway, and I would either go with them or I could step back. It was, they would tell me. And so I'm grateful for those ones that have that gift that helped my children to deal with their trauma and the abuses that was put on their pathway. And for my youngest, for seeing the trauma and the violence that their father did to me, and my youngest girl is working through that right now as we speak. And I pray for her every day, and she's such a brilliant, brilliant young woman. So I share these stories with you because those are stories that were shared with me when I was a young person. And I would sit there and listen to them. And the old people back then, they would say, oh, I'm grateful that those terrible things happened to me because it made me who I am. And I used to sit as a young woman going, what the hell are they talking about? How can they say they're grateful for that abuse? It's not a good thing. I get it now. I get it in the sense of they work through that pain. So when they were talking to us and helping us to understand, they had already healed through their trauma and their abuses that was inflicted on their life paths. And they didn't want us to have to live through that. So indirectly, they were teaching us there's another way of being well and being happy, and it was through our ceremonies and through our teachings. Our teachings is our educational system. Our ceremonies are beautiful. I cannot imagine my life not being in ceremony. It's beyond my being. But I'm very fortunate when I look back at my life. I start learning about this way of being when I was 21 years old. Truly, truly grateful for my dad, the man I call my dad. And there's a whole bunch of trauma and pain around that too, that he had straightened out his life and stopped drinking because he almost died. And it was either he chose life or he's going to die. But he did die. He left, his spirit left his body, and the old people sent him back. Told him it's not time for you. You got purpose to do. Go back to the earth. So he would share that story. he shared that story with me, and I get it now. You know what he was doing, and so he did what he needed to do. It didn't mean that he was a perfect man. By no means he was not, nor am I a perfect human being. I made lots of bad choices, lots of mistakes. But the interesting thing, this man told me one time, he says, you know, there's no such thing as a perfect person, but there is a healthy person, because healthy people know when they're off balance, they learn how to bring themselves back into balance. And it's taken me a long, long time. And I don't want pain at any level. But I'm very fortunate that I've got lots of really good people that have been really good teachers to me. Lots of them are in Creator's world now, but there's still some that still physically walk on this earth. And then there's a number of us that have worked together over the years, and I've had friends for 45 years, and we continue to do this work because we know we want the next generation to be safe, to be happy, to know who they are. So maybe we can lessen the struggle so that they won't have to work as hard as we had to and fight as hard to be able to say, I'm here, I'm not invisible, and this is my land, this is my territory, and come from no place else. And that we can speak about those things with integrity and kindness. The biggest seed that I would plant with each and every one of you as you walk through the world, learn the history. Go listen to those stories. The history of our families, of our community, and of our nation, and of this country. And the more that you learn and the more that you understand, there's a great faith in that statement that someone had said one time, that knowledge is power. But we need to know our own history of our own families because it's important, right or wrong, good or bad. Because on the other side of that is our empowerment. Because did those things happen to our parents? Yes, they did. Did I was mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, and spiritually abused as a girl, and as a young woman, as a young mom. All those abuses and all the trauma that was put in my life path does not define who I am. Did they happen? Yeah, they happen. It's just now it's just a story. But I'm not the story. But it's the truth. I can create a different story as I walk forward. And those stories is important because my children and my grandchildren need to know and understand those stories. You know, because there is no such thing as a perfect person. We're all here to learn. But the thing that I see and believe and understand is that we all have collective knowledge. We all have collective skills and talents. And the old people would say, if Creator gave you that passion and gave you skills and talents, the intent is to cultivate it and then help use it to empower our relatives. It's not meant for us to keep it. It's meant for us to share it. And now we're at a stage of life, I'm at a stage of life, I should say, that I have all 4 nations of people coming and asking me for help. And there was a time when I was a young woman, why the heck would I want to help those other people? There's so much work for our own people. But now I understand it today. There's an energy in creation that's shifting. It's up to all of us to step up and to stand in our light and to share what it is that we know and continue to learn about our history, continue to learn our ceremonies, our medicines, our teachings, our dances, our songs. Because we are the Ogichadas. We are the Ogichadakwes and we are the Ogichada Nana and Nini. We are those warriors of peace. We are paving that roadway. And we all have a collective truth, I guess would be one way of putting it. Because we all want a better world. And it is going to be us that are going to lead that. Not those other 3 nations that walk on Turtle Island. But they can come and be part of our ceremonies, but they can't be title holders. They can't lead it, but they can come and find their own spirit, and then we can direct them to go back to whatever nation they're from. They can go find their own songs and their own dances and learn their own language and learn their own medicines, because all those other three nations have drums, they have medicines, they have their own songs, they have their natural ways of being in the world. But we are going to be the leadership because this is our land, this is our territory. It did not come from no place else. We didn't even have the option, even if we wanted to go somewhere else. We didn't have no choice. And we can remind people, no matter what nation they come from, I'm sorry, but they still came from another place. But if you want to sit down and share your experience, let's sit and have a conversation. You want to share your foods with us? Then come and share that. You want to share your dances with us? Come and share that with us. Let's build those relationships that those other nations brought to our homeland. Let's celebrate that because their teachings are similar. And they always say that no matter these other nations I sit with, they go, yeah, my people believe in something like that. Yeah, our people kind of do that kind of ceremony. Our people do. I goes, well, then keep doing it. And then we all add to that light of peace and joy and safety for the next generation of children so that they can have a different experience. So, I'm just excited about life. And I was just told that I'm going to be here for a really long time. And one of the things as I asked Creator, I want to be here for a long time because my youngest grandson, who's going to be 9, that boy's going to be in the NBA, and I'm going to be that grandmother to sit on that front row and watch my grandson's first NBA game. That boy eats, sleeps, and he's an excellent basketball player. He's been throwing baskets since he could stand up. Before he could even talk, he was shooting baskets, and he plays like he's already playing in the big leagues. But he loves it. It is in his spirit. So I'm excited to see my grandson. The first NBA game that he plays, I'm going to be there. And so that's my prayer to Creator. But I've been told by other people who have that gift to see has told me I'll be here for a long time. My mother was here until her 90th year, and my grandmother was here too when she was in her early 90s. My great grandmother was here till she was 95. So my lifeline on my mother's side, the women lived to be for a long time. And so I've learned and continue to learn how to feed my mind, how to feed my heart, how to feed my body so I can stay connected to my spirit. So learning about healthy foods, what not to put in my body. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I eat as healthy as I possibly can. I don't eat sugar and I don't eat carbs. I need to just have protein in my body. And as we get older, we don't need to have all that food. We can live without it, just eat protein. Sugar is our biggest, if you want to talk about bad medicine, sugar, white bread, those are all not good for us. Any sugary cereals are not good for our children, are not good for us. And then they tell us that we as Native people, that we're all susceptible to being a diabetic. Well, that's because we eat terrible foods. It's time to shift it and to move that. Cheap food is not good for us, and to eat healthy is very expensive depending on where we're living. So grow your own food. The grandmas would say, get one plant, one tomato plant. Just have one plant and put it on your back porch. That's all you need, and it'd be amazing the food that would come. And so it's important, but the system makes us codependent. The system isn't about us being independent and self-sufficient, because you can't make any money off people who are healthy and self-sufficient. You make money off of people who are colonized, who have been oppressed, and who believe in the genocide that was happened, and that we believe that we're stupid, we're not smart enough, we're not good enough, our people don't know. And they're going, no, we do know. And what we don't know, we'll go learn. So if we want to have healthy lives and we want to pick up who we are, then go learn those things because it's time. There is going to be a new earth that's coming. By the end of next year, there's going to be a huge change in all of creation. And what the old ones are saying, either you're going to step into your light of goodness and kindness and caring for yourself, for your family, for your community, for the nation, or you're going to opt into living in the darkness of disrespect and anger and addictions and violence and believe that you're not good enough. Time to flip it. You're the only one that lives in here. Nobody else lives in there except you. You're the only one that can change the way you think. So it's time to change that colonial false belief that they inflicted upon us for the last 7 generations. It's time. This is our time. In all of the creation, the old ones would say, whatever it is that you want in your life, this is our time. But it's going to happen really fast. So step up to the plate. Be kind to yourself. Love yourself. Say those positive things to yourself when you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and tell that woman in that mirror, I love you. You're beautiful. You're brilliant. You're smart. Thank you. And if you're a man, tell that man how good he is, how wonderful he is, what a good dad he is, what a good brother he is, what a good son he is. Tell yourself those things. The power of our voice is a medicine. When we speak out loud, our mind hears it, our heart hears it, our body hears it, our spirit hears it. That's what's going to shift our thinking. What you think, what you feel, what you say, what you do, you create. Be mindful. The older ones would always say, be mindful because the universe is listening. So they say, treat yourself well. That's what's going to shift the energy. And when you can do that, it'd be amazing the doors that open around you. When you're living your purpose, living your passion, things become easier. But it's always learning. Instead of going, why is this always happening to me? It should be, what am I supposed to understand about what's just happening to me? Sit with that. Find people. Have people in your life that take care of you. I have people who take care of me. I have people who remind me about truth. I have people I can, if I need to go in a sweat, I can go to them and say, I need to go in ceremony. Okay, let's go do that. Okay, I need you to sit with me to do pipe. I need you to help me to remind me about my pipe because I am a pipe carrier and I do sweat lodge. I do all of those kinds of things. But when I'm doing them for other people, I get something out of it just as much as they do because it's a giving and a receiving. And I love it. I absolutely love it. For 45 years, I've been learning this way of life. And even just saying that right now, this moment, that seems like it's such a small, short period of time. And for some of you, it might seem like a long time, but for me, 45 years has gone by really, really fast. But the new earth and the new time is coming. Human beings have a choice. You can either pick up your natural ways and your natural good ways and just live that good life. And then when things come off balance, just go, okay, how am I going to take care of this? Okay, who are you going to ask? Ask Creator. Put your tobacco down. Go to a ceremony. Because Creator is inside of us. Creator is not outside of us. We are creators with inside of us. The spirit is not outside of us. The spirit is inside of us. And but that's a colonial way of thinking. When everything is outside of us, our natural ways of being is no, it's inside of us. We live it. We're it. And if we're going to wait for somebody to come along and save us, it's never going to happen. It's not even about saving ourselves. It's just love yourself enough. Shift that thinking. Shift the words you use. Shift about how you hear yourself. Because when you can give all those good things to yourself, then you can see and hear and understand our loved ones, understand our ones in our community or in our nation and those other nations of people. To me, it's just simple and just easy. I don't know how else to live. All as I know is life has been good to me. The more healing that I do and the more that I ask those questions and I sit with different people in different places, and it's always a giving and receiving. We help each other all the time because collective knowledge is empowerment. Collective learning is empowerment. Doing ceremony together is empowerment. Sitting and sharing with one another is empowerment. That is unconditional love for ourselves, for our family, for our community, for our nation. So I give thanks to that, for that, for learning that. And I'm sure there's some of those old ones are sitting in Creator's World going and looking at me and going, she finally gets it. It's taken her 45 years, but she finally gets it. Me, what I'll go off for that. And I'm sure they're just smiling. And so, the intent is just planting the seed and waking each other up, but waking each other up with light and love and encouragement. Kindness and positive encouragement, that's what creates positive change and growth and shifting in a good way. Our medicine is our words. Our medicine is how we hear one another. Our medicine is how we treat each other. We are the medicine. We have a choice. Are we going to treat our medicines with darkness? Or are we going to treat our medicines with light? But you need to give it to yourself too. Don't forget self. We need to give to ourselves so then it's easier for us to give it out to other people. Choose self. So, for me, I'm considered to be a cultural educator. I consider myself a knowledge keeper, but I consider myself to be a helper to the people. I don't consider myself to be an elder or to be a healer. I'm a helper. The word elder is also a colonial word, but that's something that people have just kind of gravitated to. One of the greatest compliments I ever got is when I go to different Native communities, and when I arrived, and when I'm working with some of these young women, they'll go, "Oh, Auntie Liz is here," or they go, "Grandma Liz is here. Oh, do you want to come and sit with Grandma Liz?" That's what feeds my spirit because I know that there's a relationship that has been created, and these young women have watched the way that I've worked, and that I take care of them when I'm sitting in their territory, in their homeland, because they're the ones who are doing the work in the community. So my gift and my purpose for this next stage of my life is for me to take care of caregivers so they can continue to do the work. Back in the day when I was that young woman, we had to take care of ourselves, and there was very few grandmas that we could go find, and so now there's more of us to stand the next generation up. And I need to pass on what it is that I know and what it is that I do. So I'm always asking creators, send me those young ones who want to learn. So I have lots of helpers that come and help me. So when I go travel to different agencies and different territories, they're very good to me because they allow me to bring a helper, because sometimes I need somebody to drive me, because sometimes I get tired, especially after 2 days of working with people. And it's nice. It's nice to have somebody travel with me, and it's nice to share, because that's the only way I can teach people is they got to be with me, have these conversations, just like what I'm doing with you. And so I just want to plant that seed. And again, I could talk like forever. There's so much, I'm with you with this much time, and there's just like so much to share with you. So I'm just going to put it out there right now. Is there any specific questions that maybe something I shared or something you have heard from other people and want to expand on it, whether it's medicines or ceremony, or I'll just put that out there now. So feel free to please ask me questions. Don't be shy. Okay. Okay. Just unmute yourself and then ask me the question, please.
Hi. So I kind of just wanted to state a little bit when you said that how nice it is to see us younger people. I'm 37, but to see
Mm-hmm.
us younger people in ceremony, and I just came off a fast in Mansfield in the beginning of the month,
Nice.
and so excited to see how many people my age and who've come from different walks of life. Like I've come from a different kind of life, and it was nice to see so many of us there practicing ceremony and trying to get ourselves start with the self, you know what I mean? Because we've
Mm-hmm.
been through the craziest of times, and it's like time for us to be able to work on ourselves to give back so that we can help our generations going forward. And it just made me feel really nice to hear you say that. And I also agree with you. It feels really good to see how many people are actually like, doing the work. We have a lot of
Yeah.
people who are trying in our communities, and it's scary and it's sad because we do have a lot of people in the communities who are trying to go against the work. They
Yeah.
want to stay in the darkness, but I'm just so honored to have gotten to listen to you. And I've had my camera off. I'm cleaning out my new fridge and doing stuff in the house, but I just
Yeah.
want to say big
That's okay. That's okay, girl.
thank you for that.
Oh, God.
Mhm.
Well, and it's true. And the other thing is when we come together like that, how beautiful it is to see our people working with each other. That
Yes.
is the beauty. And it's fun. The other thing is at our fasting camp, there's always lots of laughter, but there's lots of work. We're always encouraging people, come if you're not going to go fast, and at least come and check it out and see what it's like, and come and help. And even with our Sundance, and people will come, and and because people are still really shy, and so invite them in and we make them feel at home, and just come and watch. You don't even have just pay attention, and just be. And so there's always lots of laughter. And my one of my friends who's a really good firekeeper, I've known this man for a really long time, and as soon as we see each other, we just give each other a hug and we laugh. Don't even know what the heck we're laughing about, but it's just that joy and feeding that light for each other, and we appreciate each other so much. But it's great. And the stories, and the fun. And we have a young person who's two-spirited, and he's 7 years old, and he is our light. He is just beautiful, and there's no words to even to express or to share what that does when our people gather in that way, and how the children are being taken care of, and it's supposed to be safe for them, and I still encourage people, bring your kids no matter what we're doing. We need to break that colonial way of thinking, and our kids we have to get a babysitter, our kids have to be somewhere else. How are they going to learn if they're not with us? And that our kids also need to see us when we're grieving and we're healing, because that's how they learn by watching. But it's being able to tell our children. And I say this when I was shifting and moving, and I would be crying, and my kids would go, "Are you all right, Mom?" I goes, I just need to cry. I need to let this go, because tears is our medicine. Tears clears our mind, clears our heart, clears our body, so we can be connected to our spirit. And sometimes when we do our grief and our crying, when we're sitting in ceremonies, we're doing that for our parents, our grandparents, and our great grandparents, and for our relatives that couldn't cry when they were in those institutions. And so that's the beauty of it. And our laughter is the other medicine. Laughter does the same thing, clears the mind, clears the heart, clears the body, keeps us connected to our spirit. What wonderful medicine that Creator has given to us. And believe me, I've been shushed by many people in my laughter. And my thing is, if people are uncomfortable with it, oh well, too bad, so sad. It's not my problem. But I'm not going to shift, and I'm not going to lessen my medicine because other people are uncomfortable with that, or my tears. No, if I'm sad and I'm hurt, I'm going to cry. And if people are uncomfortable with that, oh well, too bad, so sad. I will never apologize for my tears ever again, or for my laughter, because it's good medicine. And we all know that when our people come together, right, whether we know each other or not, you meet each other, there's always laughter. How wonderful and how beautiful is that? And because our relatives couldn't laugh. And then when they could, that's how they were able to survive, but they got punished for laughing. And yet that's what saved their lives, you know? So we need to shift that and to move that. And sometimes we have to educate other people, or even in our workplaces, this, well, you know, you're at work and you need to do this, 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 and heaven forbid, if you're laughing, people think you're not working. I go, who's somebody? Who's these people? You can get a lot done working, just like this one saying was she's cleaning out her fridge. Good. Hey, we can multitask. We can still be doing something else and still listen. It's the same with children. When children come to our ceremonies, I tell the moms, bring the blanket, bring their toys. They can play, they can do whatever. They're still listening and they're paying attention. They don't need to sit still. That's crazy, you know? It's like let them come and just be children. They need mom. If the mom needs to pay attention to them or the baby needs to be fed, just do it. You know, and other people just automatically will help women. Women are still scared of, oh, what if my kid cries or what if they act up? We're all there to help. Let us help each other. Let's get back to that about supporting one another and standing each other up. So, miigwech. Oh, yeah. Anybody else?
No, I just want to say like a big chimigwech for sharing your story and just honestly just hearing like the power and healing. I like you can hear it in like your voice and the way that you share it and what you've been through is just really it's inspiring. I know like for myself, I've been on like a reconnection journey like within like this past year and then working with finding our power together, like getting into ceremony and working within community and with youth. And it can be at times feel hard to kind of walk that path with people and you know to hear the stories. I'm wondering if you could like expand upon, I don't know, I think like the medicines of the spirit was something that really like stuck with me and how like if we give that love ourselves like it's easier to give it to others.
Yeah, and you know, there's lots of times that so many of us, when we would share our stories and healing, and yet we didn't even really know what we were doing back then. We just knew that it felt good to have somebody hear us, somebody to see us, somebody to understand us, because we all had similar experiences, but we didn't get stuck in it. So the more what we would say, if you, especially if you're a helper and you're listening to somebody's story, if it touches you and you're starting to feel what they're feeling, you do this. When you're listening to somebody else's story, breathe, and that what the breath does is the words are going to go through you. It's like when we're listening to somebody, we go, and then we take it and we hang on to it. It's not ours to hang on to. But if you feel it after you're done sitting with someone, then it is yours. Or maybe that person didn't release it. It can be released through us. And that's why smudging is important. But the power of breath, when we do the power of breath, you're cleaning out your own house. When we breathe in that medicine, let it go through you. Because we serve no purpose by carrying somebody else's emotional pain. What I do know and understand around that are our what we call fanning down. And I think if I had the power, is I want to teach all caregivers they should have a fan with their bundle in their offices wherever they're working, or they should be carrying one around and fan people down, get them to breathe. And when you fan them down, it's like you're dusting them off of their hurt and their sadness or whatever is happening with them, and it feels good. I have to get people to do that for me. That's why I have a helper. So the helper takes care of me and I take care of them. So when I come home, I don't bring any of that home with me. I don't carry any of it. But it took me a long time to understand that. And I got really sick 3 times in my lifetime, like really sick. Never went to a doctor with that. I went to our people and they doctored me back to health. And then they would tell me, this is what you need to do because you're taking everybody's stuff on, and that's not up to you to carry it. Why are you trying to carry somebody else's stuff? That's not your journey. And even for my own children, it's their journey. And so those little things are important. The other thing is water. Drink water. If you're going to listen to somebody's story, have water for them and water for yourself. Let that water, because that water is female energy. It's a grandma that's attached to that water. And ask that water help us. And there's nothing wrong with us as helpers, no matter where we are. Nothing wrong with us crying with the people we're sitting with. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Dominant society would say, oh, well, you have to be the professional and don't show your feelings. And then they say, oh, you have to have empathy. And my thing is, either you have it or you don't. Either you have compassion, either you do or you don't. I don't know if that's something you can teach someone. Either you have it or you don't. But with us, we're already spiritually connected, so we don't really need to know the deep stories, because all of our stories are similar. They're all interconnected because of the blood that runs through us, from our parents to our grandparents, from one community to another community, from our nations of people. But what I do know and believe and understand, when we do our healing, it heals the past, the present, and the future. So when they talk about 7 generations, that's what they're talking about. When we do our healing work, we're healing ourselves, the 7 generations behind us. I mean, the 3 generations behind us and the 3 generations in front of us. And it works. And that's why when I shared the story about my oldest grandson and my great grandson, it works. So I get to see the empowerment and the movement that has happened through the work that I have done through my life. And we'll continue to do that. But as we get older, and the more healing work that you do, and to clean your own house from whatever abuses or trauma that has happened in your life, life is just easier. And to me, that's where you get your compassion and your empathy and your kindness and your care, because we know what it feels like to have nobody not be there or not listen to us or not see us or hear us or understand us. And the other thing is, for me, when I go into meetings with, I don't know, some institution, we're trying to have a meeting about how we're going to shift stuff. I remind them immediately, we're going to light the medicines. I'm going to sing a song. I'm going to offer a prayer. And I says, I need to tell you, I know that we're coming to this meeting. I'm coming here with my heart, mind, body, and spirit. Yous are just coming and sitting at this table just in your mind and trying to figure out what are yous going to get out of whatever meeting we're having to be able to shift these institutions, eh? But I have no problem speaking in that way, because I'm not staff. I can say what I want, but I'm speaking for the staff, because the staff has to still be mindful about, because that's their job. But my role and my responsibility is to empower them enough so they can work in those institutions and not lose who they are, because it is hard. It is a struggle, and even for our relatives that have to work in their own communities, it's not easy. They need to be taken care of too. That's a whole different dynamic, for sure. There is no doubt about that. So, but be mindful about, find those people and don't be scared to ask for help. You know, a very strong individual is somebody that can say, I need help, or I don't understand. The colonial way of thinking, they never say they don't understand, and they never say I made a mistake, and they never say they're sorry. But the other thing is, there's no magic in saying sorry. If you're sorry, then show me. You know, step out of the road and let us create the space and support us in that. Give us the financial well-being so we can continue to empower our people. To me, it's as simple as that. My other big thing is, no matter where we are, if we're in big cities, and give us one of those parks and let us create whatever we want in those parks. It's crown land. It belongs to us. So there's something to be said. As you get older, I love it. I love it. Because who's going to tell me to be quiet? No one. But I'm also a Scorpio woman, so you can never tell a Scorpio woman she can't do something, because I'm just going to, I'm going to do it anyway. So just plant that seed with you. It is our voices. We need to use our voices. Silence is violence. When you see something that's not right, call it what it is. To me, it's as simple as that. And we can call things what it is when it's we can do it with kindness and integrity, but it's the truth. Because you can't argue about truth. My story is my story. Nobody can't tell me I can't talk about it. It's my journey. We all have our journey. But how wonderful it is that we have more people that we can walk with. Some people are going to be ahead of us. Some people are going to be beside us. Some are going to be behind us. But we're all going to the same place, into that light of love and of goodness and of kindness and of care, because we want the world to be a better place. And we have I don't know if I don't necessarily like the word responsibility, but it is up to us to plant those seeds in those other generations and those other nations. But let's make those relationships. But there's nothing wrong with creating those relationships, but reminding people this is our land, this is our home, and we are still growing, we're still shifting. Because I think that dominant society has taught other nations that we get everything free. My thing is, you come and sit with me and I'll tell you what we got for free. We got free mental, emotional, physical, sexual, and spiritual abuse for the last 7 generations, or since 1492. So that's what we got free. We got free our land being taken away from us. We got free our people being killed. So that's what you gave to us for free. So, I really have a hard time when I hear people say those kinds of things. The other thing that I'm creating is I'm creating a cultural assertiveness training program, because I want to plant the seed and help people to use their voices, but you need to understand what that is and what are people throwing at you, like, oh, you just get everything free, oh, you get education free, oh, you just get this free. Yeah, and some of us don't know what to say, or we get mad, or we want to fight, want to argue. No, let's say, you come and sit here and I'll tell you what that's about. Or oh, well, you don't look native enough, or you look too white, or you look too dark. And our relatives come in all kinds of different shades. But it's also the other thing is being connected to our communities. And then we have a bunch of pretendians out there that are getting all these jobs out there and making big bucks, and they get away with it. What about them? That's an injustice. So there's all of those kinds of things. So, but anyway, those are things that I'm working on. I'm also writing a book, and I have a bunch of things written down. Now I'm kind of like starting over, but it's just where I am. I was told 20 some years ago by the grandmothers I had to write, and I was going, right. I'm not a writer, and I'm not. I'm a talker. But I've just went through a big healing process with a friend of mine, and then I went away, and I was able to sit in the ocean water and pray to that grandmother spirit, and sing those songs to the water and to the sun. And I got my answer about how it's going to be to create these books that I need to create. So I'm excited about that. Life should be exciting, and I don't think life is supposed to be hard. But if it's hard, who's making it hard? Then I'm making it hard. I got nobody else to blame. I make my life miserable. And if I'm off balance, I go stand on the earth. I go put my hands on that tree and ask that tree, move that energy out of me, and go sit by the water. Go put my hands in the water, or put my feet in the water, and I'll share this. When I go to Chimnasing, that's what I do. Go put my feet in that water, because I need that for me. Because I'm always asking for direction, always asking for the ancestors to guide me, because I continue want to be a good helper to the people. And there's no such thing in my world as retiring. I'll be doing this for the rest of my life, but it'll be easier as I get older. And but I want to put things in place so that I can share what it is that I do, so I can touch the spirit of many, many people, not just our own relatives, but other nations of people, because it is up to us. It's going to be up to us to shift it and to move it in our homeland. So I just wanted to share that. Any other questions or thoughts?
No.
Anine, bonjour, Liz,
Oh, bonjour.
from Bosley First Nation Territory,
Oh,
Chimnising,
what the heck, eh?
Treaty 5.
Yeah.
I just like to say Chimigwech for all your knowledge that you shared with us today and all the seeds that you planted in us. And
Mm.
also, too, a good reminder of our medicines and being able to share those with our people or anybody that comes in our path. And
Mm-hmm.
Also too, I like what you said, give that medicine to yourself, feed your spirit, your body, your mind, and it's easier for us to help others, to be a squabeus and,
Yeah.
to feed our spirit. And I like what you said about, you're in your one stage of life. I'm in that stage as well because I'm a Nookmis too. Three of my grandchildren and two are constantly in my life, and I'm constantly helping them and sharing with them, and and like you said, they're there watching us, so
Mm-hmm.
we have to start shifting and moving. And I like also too what you said about it's okay to cry, it's okay to
Mm-hmm.
share that beauty as it connects us to Mother Earth. And um, not being able, or I guess being able to apologize, and I guess to use those medicines that we were given, like the laughter and things like that. Because, as Indigenous women, when we're out there, sitting in a restaurant or even in our workplace, we're loud. We laugh. We laugh. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have a
Huh?
crazy, enormous laugh, and I could hear people snicker and say, "Oh, she's so loud," or "She's obnoxious." But like you say, laughter's medicine.
Yeah.
And
Or
I've
they
always
think we're
been,
or they think we're still drunk or something. Oh, those Indians are probably drunk. They're acting up. Like, there's still those statements happening.
yeah,
So are you living in
that's right.
or do you living someplace else?
No, I live right here on Chimnesing.
Okay.
I've been to your last workshop. You had it at the OW office. I
Oh
think
yeah.
Nina
Oh yeah. Yeah.
facilitate.
Yeah.
Yeah. She hired you for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was, I think, at the beginning of summer you were last here with your son. But
Yeah.
very you did you're always doing very good work for our people, and I just want to say Chimigwech for
Oh.
always sharing and caring and loving everybody who comes into your path. And I just like to say Chimigwech to Savannah for
Mm.
hosting you and inviting you into our safe space. So I say Chimigwech.
Oh. And see, going to Gymnasting to me, it's just I love it. I just think that they should just let me move up to West Bay and I'll just put a little tiny house up there.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
Oh, but I do.
Chimigwech Bamapi.
It's a medicine for me to go to Chimnasing. Truly, my other
Yes,
medicine community I go to is Wapu Island. I have a medicine family there, and so when I get lonesome for res life, or I can go there and God, this we just laugh all day. I just have to because I'm just me. I'm not no super nothing. I'm just me. But I truly love what it is that I do and I believe in it. There's no doubt about that. But it's funny in with my children, if we're at a gathering or something, they always go, just stand still. We might not be able to see her, but we'll hear her. And it's like, what the heck, man? So now my grandchildren are doing that. If we just stand still, we'll hear Graham. Oh, she's over there. We can hear her laughing. So, hey, however people can find me, that's all right. Did you want to say anything,
that's
Cody?
what my husband and children say too. They say, "Oh, where's mom?" And they're like, "Oh, we hear her. She's laughing."
Oh, it's good though. Hey, laughter is a medicine, man. It's great. Oh, good. Anything on here? Okay, Jesus is gonna. He opened. We'll let him close.
I hope you enjoyed hanging out with her. She's a lot of fun. I just want to say this, like, I appreciate everyone coming and just listening and being together and just getting to hear my my mom, because everything she's saying is true. And I was thinking about it today, and I just want to say to you right now, Mom. I was thinking about, like, because we were talking about her on the fire today, and genuinely being grateful for you doing your work, because you've said it funny. You're like, if I didn't do my work, you know. But it's true. I think about what my life would be like, and not only like my quality of life, but when my own life got hard, and my own life has been difficult. This is everything that saves me and everything that helps me. And I used to think it just we needed these medicines when life was hard. But then my life came really good. And then I went to ceremony. I was like stacking one thing on another. And you know, one thing I really get from our people is that the Western world wants to, like, it feels like it wants to control everything, even the ocean. It's like that's how they want to operate all of life. But our people are just really good surfers. And things are gonna come and things are gonna go, and it's gonna have a lot of challenges and there's a lot of work out there. But I just want to say miigwech, because I work with a lot of people, and this just means the world. To get to share who we are, and to start to heal. And I really do believe our people have the way. So I just want to say Alco and Chimi much for everyone, and for this amazing woman who I gotta call my mother. And yeah, everyone just take care of yourselves, because you're worth it. We are that power. You can ask and pray. But remember when we're praying here too, because you've always had it. You've always known it. Alco, English.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to get everybody to, if you're sitting or standing, but put your feet flat on the floor. And I want you to take a deep breath. Close your eyes, and I want you to think of a color, whatever that may be. And I'm going to just offer this song. So that song is what they call the creator song. And then when you say it's like, creator, have pity on me. Connie gana. It's all my relations. So our relationship with creator, with ourselves, with our family, with our community, with the trees, with the water, with the winged ones, with the fin ones, the winged ones, everything in creation, because we're interconnected to everything, and to honor that. So really, in essence, none of us are ever really by ourselves. And that was kind of our teachings that our people have carried since the beginning of time. So I just want to say miigwech and yamagoa for allowing me to sit with you. And every time I do this, it's like I continue to have a great deal of respect for Zoom. Because it's really, but I get it. I get that we have to do this. And so it's all good. So miigwech yawa.
Miigwech, Liz. You know, there's just another comment in the chat that I just will bring to you before we go. It was asking about your cultural assertiveness training program, as well as if you hold any online programs.
I don't know yet. I've just created it. I haven't even did my first one yet. So I don't even know how I'm going to do it yet. I just know I have it like together. I know how I'm going to deliver it. I don't know where I'm going to deliver it, but I think maybe doing it in this way might be the other part of that answer. So my hope and my vision is by the end of I think maybe in November I might do a trial group, because I do some teaching at Centennial College, and so I might do a group there just to try it out. I guess there'll be my little what do you call it? I don't know. I'll practice on them, but I am doing it anyway. I just want to make it more focused. So I don't know how else. Maybe I don't know how I'm going to get the word out to people, but maybe this young woman that created this, I can just keep in touch with her, and then she can tell other people. See, these young women, they know how to go out there and find people. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. We can definitely keep in touch, spread the word. That would be amazing
Yeah.
to see
So
it grow.
yeah, so I think that's probably how it might have to go through like other agencies or other people, because I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to, hook up the Zoom stuff. So just put the prayers out there, the intent, and who's ever supposed to be there will be there. And I'm just going to allow it to grow and unfold the way that it needs to. So it's all good. So you all be kind to yourself, treat yourselves well, and look in that mirror and tell yourself how wonderful that you are.
Amazing. That was really beautiful. She Miigwech, Liz, for sharing your story and just sharing the space with us this evening and what you had to share. It was really nice how you opened and closed this evening. It was beautiful to share this time with you.
All right. Thank you for asking me. Miigwech, Yamago. Okay, Bamampi.
Bama P.